come underneath our hips and let the toes point forwards. Lovely. So we'll let those feet be just underneath our hips. We'll let the toes point forwards. The eyes to close if you feel comfortable enough to. And just start to allow yourself to zone in on a nice gentle breath. To come and go nice and gently. And let's see if we can allow the inward breath to really draw in a fresh new energy into our bodies. And as we exhale, let's see if we can focus in on any parts of the body that feel a little bit tight or a little bit stiff, and we'll see if we can use our outward breath to release that tension. So as we stand here and work on our breathing, just take a moment before we go through our posture to check if there's anything postural for you that you know is your little signature posture move that you always do. Mine is I always have to check in that I'm not locking my knees because they're always wanting to go into that position. So just take a moment to check out the bit of your posture that is always your little thing, and see if you can find that sense of a really nice neutral place to be. Not all the way into the front of the feet, not all the way into the back of the feet, but somewhere in between those two places, hopefully evenly between those two places. And we've got a sense of energy in through the arches of the feet. And then a feeling that the tailbone is descending down towards the heels, as if you had a plumb line attached to the tailbone. Now when you find that placement, let's draw up through the pelvic floor muscles and just allow ourselves to take a little connection through the belly button as if we were tightening our belt one notch. And then we'll allow ourselves to lift the shoulders. We'll roll the shoulders back and down. And let's do that a few times. Gently rolling the shoulders back and down. Allow our shoulders to gently ease towards one another, sink down towards the tailbone. And as you slide the shoulder blades down, let's allow the head to grow even taller, so we become even taller through the torso. Take a nice deep breath for me there. Allow the right arm to float forwards and up. And as that arm floats back down, we'll allow the opposite arm to float forwards and up. So we're changing each time. That's it, brilliant. And let's allow ourselves to bring those arms by our side. We'll take a nice deep breath. We'll let the right ear dip down towards the right shoulder. And over to the opposite side. Lift up and over to the right side. And to the second side. Head into the centre. Let's allow the head to gently rotate round to the right side. And into the centre and rotating round to the second side. Side. Head comes into the centre. We'll allow the chin to tuck towards the chest. Let's take that little roll down through the spine. Gently rolling down through the vertebrae. Breath at the bottom. And then breathing out as we roll up through the spine, coming up through the vertebrae bit by bit. We'll lift the shoulders at the top, roll the shoulders back and down, let both the arms float forwards and up. Breathing in as the arms float back down. And again, releasing through the top of the head, rolling gently down through the spine. Keep that going for me. We'll lift the shoulders, roll the shoulders back and down, both arms float forwards and up. Breathing in as the arms float back down. Let's take that little bend through the knees and let the arms open out to the side. Lovely. And again, releasing through the top of the head, rolling gently down through the spine. There. And then again, rolling up through the spine. Head comes on top, we lift the shoulders, roll the shoulders back and down. Let both arms float forwards and up. Lovely, breathing in as the arms float back down. Soften through the knees, let the arms open out to the side. And lengthening the legs, lovely. Let's take a little side bend from there, up and over to the right side. Lovely, coming through the centre, up and over to the second side. Good. Yep, absolutely, adding in the arm. Side. Centre, drawing the fingertips in towards one another, shoulders glide down the back. Let's allow the rib cage to gently rotate round. So if you can hear a door kind of banging, there is a door in the studio that if the wind is blowing quite hard and obviously from a certain direction, the door just rattles. Doesn't matter what I do, it seems to still rattle. So apologies if you can hear this rattly door noise. Down to the very, very strong winds that we've got at the moment. Up towards the space above us, check you've not locked in through the knees. Inside, and then as we come to the centre, just allow the hands to come in front of us. Shoulders glide gently down the back, lovely. So the elbows are tucked in nice and tight to the rib cage. Take a breath, let the arms open out to the side. Breathing in as we return, lovely. And again, arms gently open out. And drawing the arms back in, lovely. Let's take two more like that before we have a little explore of that right arm circling over the head, as if you've got something balanced on your right hand. So you're going to circle that arm around. That's it, lovely. And circling gently back. And circling around to the second side. Lovely. And once again on each side. There, bring your arms in and give yourself a big hug. Squeeze in through the tummy. Let's just allow ourselves to gently tip forwards, not from the pelvis, but just the upper body. So the lower back stays nice and long, just the upper back has a little curve forwards. Now with that squeeze in the tummy still, I want you to allow the breastbone to start to lift. Now keep the breastbone lifting. We're not going to knock back through the head. We're just going to allow the breastbone to lift up for the sky. And then drawing in. Squeeze in through the tummy, but allow the lower back to stay nice and long. So it's just an upper back curve. And up. Lift the breastbone up for the sky. Back to the centre from there. Thumbs are going to lead the way. We're going to take a big opening with the right thumb going high, the left thumb going low. Good. Drawing everything in. We're going to switch over. So the left arm goes high, the right arm goes low. Making a nice diagonal across the body. Lovely. Let's look at the top hand as it goes up to the right. And drawing in. Looking at the top hand as it goes across to the left. Last one. And up to the side. Good, and release in there. Give the arms a little shake out. Lovely. So we'll take a nice deep breath from there. As we breathe out, we'll allow the right foot to lift away from the floor. That foot back down. Changing over to the opposite side. The left foot lifts away from the floor. And floating that foot back down. Lovely. So we're changing sides each time. The tip of the toe is still touching the ground, and that's fine. Maybe the whole of the foot lifts away from the floor and the knee kind of comes into line with the hip, and that's a marvellous thing too. Let's see if we can allow the knee to just gently open out to the side, and then we'll draw in and float back down. Lovely. Yeah, let's see about allowing the opposite arm to open out. Knee opens out, coming back in and floating down. Lovely. Changing sides. Opposite arm to leg lifts, knee opens out to the side, coming back in and floating down. Good. We lift. Knee opens out to the side. Nice catch, well done. Drawing back in and floating down. Now, slight change here. We'll lift, let the knee open out to the side. Now, as the knee comes back in, keep the arm where it is and just lift it a little for me. Now, this left arm is going to come across the body as if you're putting your seatbelt on, switching into your hip. And then again with that thumb leading, opening out. Oh, floating down. Nice work, guys. And again, we lift. Knee opens out to the side. Now keep the arm there as you draw the leg in and lift the arm up slightly. Draw the arm in as if you're switching your seatbelt on. It takes a bit more of a squeeze in the tummy, and then the thumb opens gently out. Letting down. Let's do one more on each side. Now as we do that, I'm not going to lie to you, it's harder if you watch the hand. So as you bring the leg back in, if you float this arm across you and you watch it as it goes, that's going to be harder because, as I've told you before, focusing on a spot in front of you will allow you to be still and find more balance. If you let the eyes go with you, it's even more challenge, which sometimes is nice. Oops, sorry, arm goes high. Coming across you. Gently opening out. Floating the arms down. Well done, guys. Good. Let's take a little lift of the heels there. So we'll lift and float the heels back down. And again, we'll lift and float the heels back down. Lovely. Lift. Down. This time we'll lift. Let's just allow the right heel to float back down. Let the left heel push forwards with a softness in the knees. So the hips are going to stay nice and still. And again we lift. Floating the other heel down. When I say the hips are still, they're not still. They're level. They will go up and they will go down. Lovely. As we do that, as the heel lowers down, let the same arm as the heel that's lowering float forwards. And then we change. If it feels a bit quirky, it's probably that you're doing the same arm as the knee that's lifting. So the knee that's bending forwards, it's the opposite arm that you're pushing forwards. On a string. One more. Both the heels down and let both the arms float on up. You've got those shoulders gliding down the back. Let's allow the arms to gently open out nice and wide. Lovely. And then again, shoulders glide down the back. Let's slide them down, let the arms open out to the side. See if we can bring them up high. This time let's just pull the elbows down so the elbows come nice and wide and the palms face forwards. Beautiful. Reaching the arms up. And then floating the arms down. All the way. Good. Just looking to find that real good shoulder action because we're going to do some work on our fronts in a little while. Elbows pull down, shoulders glide down the back. Feel as though you're trying to put your shoulder blades in your back pockets. Let's reach the arms up. And then we'll open the arms all the way down. Lovely. Just one more like that. Down, shoulders glide down. When we do it on the floor, we'll add a extension through the upper spine. And bringing the fingertips down. Lovely. From there, releasing through the top of the head. We're going to roll down through the spine. We're going to bring ourselves onto hands and knees. So if you need to switch yourself around a little bit, by all means do. Good. Rolling all the way down to the floor. Hands underneath our shoulders. We'll bring the knees underneath our hips. I think I need to go this way a little bit because I don't think you can see me properly. Stretch from here. Let's push the back up into the sky. Let the head drop between the arms. And then we'll lengthen the head and the tail away from one another. Let the shoulders glide down the back. And again, we'll push the back up into the sky. Tailbone points down, head releases. And the head and the tail lengthen away from one another. Shoulders glide down the back. Let's keep that going. Tabletop position here, so allowing the knees to be underneath the hips, and we're going to go for a nice long line through the spine. Find a sense of connection through the tummy. With the shoulders gliding down the back, take a breath and allow that right leg to glide away from us. Breathing in as we float the leg back in, changing over to the opposite side. Opposite leg glides away. Returns. So we slide that leg away, lengthening the leg away. Let's take that little knee opener from there. So as the leg tuck comes back in, we'll then allow the knee to gently open out to the right side and floating back in. And then onto the other side. If the left leg is lengthening away, hips stay nice and still. Breathing in as the leg returns, and we'll allow the left knee to open out to the side. If you want to, adding the arms in. So we'll lengthen the arm away, draw the arm back in, and then just because it makes sense to me, I keep the elbow bent and I let the elbow open out to the side. Breathing in as the arm returns and the leg returns. Keep that going for me. Changing legs each time. Opposite arm to leg extends away, drawing in, and then opening out through the side to the sides. Good. So if you want to, we can add on our thread and the needle to this combination. If your wrists haven't had enough, we'll just do we'll just do two on each side. We'll lengthen the arm and the leg away, drawing back in, let the knee and the elbow open out to the side. Knee comes back in, and we'll extend that arm away, and then drawing back in. The leg extends away. Breathe in as the arm and the leg return. Knee opens out to the side. Coming back in and feeding that arm through. Changing over to the other side. Finished off there, allow yourself to sit back onto your heels, lengthening the arms in front of you, rest the forehead and breathe nice and gently. Allow ourselves to just walk the hands over to one side, and then we'll stretch across the body, push into the opposite side of the pelvis so you get a nice long stretch across the side of the body. And then we'll walk the hands across to the opposite side, and we'll allow the left arm to reach across us. Push into the left hip, letting the head become nice and heavy. Walking the hands across, coming into the centre. Let's allow ourselves to just find a cheeky plank, because we can do, and we're here. So we'll allow ourselves to come over onto our hands and shoulders, which are directly underneath our shoulders once again. Let's see if we can make a nice long angle from our knees to our hips to our shoulders. There's it, nice, good. Shoulders glide down the back, head extends out and away. Let's find a nice sense of strength through the tummy, tailbone stretching out and away, shoulders gliding down. Now, we're breathing here. If you need to push your weight back every now and again to take a little moment to breathe, that's okay. If you start to shudder, then again, just allow yourself to sink back. If you feel as though you could do more challenge from here, tuck the toes under, lift the knees, press into the heels. Shut down the back, head extends out and away. One more breath, lower the knees, just sit back onto your heels. We're going to aim to do the same thing but on our elbows. So it's a modified plank, but it's only modified in the sense that it gives your wrists a break. So we come forwards and allow those elbows to come underneath our shoulders. Let's allow ourselves to find a place where it feels as though the pelvis is in line with the shoulders. Now check, if it were to rain, you wouldn't get a puddle in your lower back, so you're not drooping in the lower back. We're really stretching the tailbone away, letting the top of the head lengthen out and away and the shoulders glide down the back. Again, if you feel ready to, tucking the toes under, we lift the knees, push into the heels. Find a little connection through the bottom, and I don't mean clenching for dear life. I mean allow yourself to find enough connection that you've got your your tailbone stretching away from you. Lower the knees, and let's allow ourselves to lower all the way down to the floor. From there, we'll let the elbows go nice and wide. So the elbows are going wide and the fingers are pointing forwards. The nose hovers just an inch away from the floor. Some deep breaths here. So we've got the tailbone stretching away from us. We've got a nice strong connection in the belly button. Let's take two, just thinking about those shoulders. So the shoulder action that we did earlier, let's allow the hands to be just hovering away from the floor. Squeeze in through the tummy, shoulders glide down the back, just as they did when we were standing, and then come back to that beginning position. And again, shoulders glide down the back. Now, for me, I feel that my back wants to start pulling away from the floor then, because I feel that the breastbone wants to start to lift. So as I exaggerate that movement a little bit more, I get a little bit more flexibility through my upper back. Make sure belly button isn't pushing into the ground to lift me up, but it's all about finding that flexibility through the upper back. One more here. To our side, let's allow ourselves to come round onto the side. Now, just take a moment, let's bend the knees in for a moment and we'll let our head rest down onto our bottom arm. So for some of us that was quite intense work on the neck. So let's take a moment to just let the head be nice and heavy. You're going to allow the pelvis to be, well, the hips are on top of one another, knees are on top of one another, as are the toes. Now, just allow that top hip to tip forward slightly so the top knee overlaps the bottom knee. And then from there we'll squeeze in through the tummy and we'll allow the top knee to start to lift and lower. But we'll keep the hips nice and still. Good, give me 4 like that. Keep that going for me. If I do that. Morning, Francis. Once we've done those 4, we're going to glue the knees together and we're going to allow the foot to lift. We lift and lower. So we've glued the knees together, the foot lifts and lowers. Lovely. You've got your camera shot so that I can just see a foot appearing every now and again. A switch between these two, but in a way that might feel a little bit quirky. It feels a bit quirky to me. So we lift the knee. Now you've got the knee in this position. Now you're going to switch directly to the next position, which is knees connected. So then we switch directly to toes connected and directly to knees connected. I can't say that anymore. Toes, knees. Keep a squeeze in the tummy. Toes. One more. Beautiful. Floating the foot down. Take a little stretch through that front thigh. A band or something if you need it. Some people find it really hard to reach their foot behind them. So some different tricks that I've seen people do along the way. Some people bring their knee in, slide the hand down and then sweep the leg back. Other people wrap a band around the ankle. Or if you've got trousers that are long enough, you grab hold of your trousers or your socks or something. Good, nice and deep with the breath there. Lovely. Let's allow the leg to release. We're going to stretch the bottom leg away from us and we're going to allow the top leg to come forwards as if we were in the recovery position. Not sure I should mention that in the middle of a class. Squeezing in through the tummy, the bottom leg is going to start to lift and lower. So we'll lift and lower and lift. Let's do that again. 3. And let's just pulse it up there just for good measure. 5, 4, 3. And release. Lovely. Both legs stretch away. Some of us do this with the bottom leg bent. So if you're a side leg kick person and you do it with the bottom leg bent, you go for that now. We've got the top hand resting on the floor, possibly to begin with. Just take a moment to check that arm's really reaching up in a nice long line with the body. Strength through the core and our waist is lengthening. Let's lengthen the top leg away from us and feel as though you're going for lots more length. So you're trying to make yourself really tall, really long. Nice deep breath, bottom leg lifts also. Now, as that bottom leg lifts, we keep breathing. We might be working towards bringing that top hand off the floor and resting it by our sides. Some of us will already have it by our sides and that will be marvellous. Let's keep breathing. We're going to allow this top leg to take a little kick in action forwards. There'll be 5. So we'll allow the leg to stretch forwards and then draw back to the start position. Lovely. 4 more. 4. I am going to have a little look at you up the correct way because I find it a bit odd when I'm just lying the whole time. Now, when you've done those 5, hold it for me there. Let's take some little leg extensions behind us, We want to be really still through the pelvis, so you might even want your hand to come onto that top hip to make sure that it doesn't tip. And I'm not just thinking I don't want the leg to tip forwards. I don't want the tailbone to push backwards. I want my tailbone to still be stretching towards the heel that's got the leg nice and still, the bottom leg. So that will stop me from pinching into my back. I don't want my back to be pinching as I'm stretching the leg behind me. I think that's 3, so we've got 2 more. Floating those legs down will soften in through the knees. If you've got a cushion nearby you, grab a cushion and we'll do a little bit of opening up like a book. Head on down. We'll allow both the arms to lengthen. Take a nice deep breath and let that top arm open. Eyes are fixed on the hand. Breathing in as we return. Now, if there's any neck issues that you need to keep an eye on, you might want to bend the elbow. I find that just allows you to not have quite as much of a weight of a lever when you're opening out. And then the other thing we can explore from here, which is quite nice, we get that nice sense of spiral through the spine, is to keep the fingertips connected to the floor. And then I call these the chalk circles. Not sure where I got that title from. I don't think I made it up, but who knows, quite frankly. So imagining that you've got a piece of chalk in your hand as you open the arm out. Don't be alarmed if you get to a point where there's like a lift off the floor and then it plops back down again. That's quite normal. There's just a little bit of a tightness in the chest that just won't allow it to stay connected, but the more we do it, the more it will come. And finishing off there, coming up to a seated position, and then this leg that's been on top is going to come across us. Been working with the one that's been going forwards and back. That leg is going to come across your opposite knee. So we're going to get a nice bit of work into the glute. Yeah, lovely. So we're lifting really nice and tall here. Some of us are thinking actually that buttock is just not resting on the ground and I'm feeling nothing except for I'm going to fall over. In which case the bottom leg can stretch out in front of you. Yeah, so you've got this same leg over the top, but you've got one leg that's lengthened. And we'll lift nice and tall. And then we'll just rotate away from the legs, looking over our shoulder, bringing the torso into the knee that you've got lifted. So if you're rotating away, it doesn't matter. That would be my pregnancy option anyway. But if you want to come in, that's the way I'm going. Releasing from there, lovely. Let's take the legs out in front of us and we'll lift really nice and tall. Just glide gently down the back and we'll just creep the fingers forwards, seeing if we can get a little bit of extension through the torso, flexion through the torso. We're going to allow ourselves to just ease gently forwards. Some of us will be feeling a lot of length in the backs of the legs. Some of us will be feeling a lot of feeling maybe in the backs of the knees. Others of us will be feeling a lot in the calves. Some of us might even be thinking, actually my back knows about this as well. We're going to allow it to just lengthen and stretch out. Take a moment to let those shoulders just melt away from the ears. Explore 2 things for me. One, stretch your toes away and see if that changes the amount of you can get your torso down. And then stretch the toes back up towards you. Ooh la la! And feel that extend into the hamstring. We were going to explore. Let your head completely relax down, as if you're trying to headbutt your knees. Breath, as if someone's got a piece of string attached to the top of your head. Pull, pull, pull the head out and away. Keep lengthening and extending. You're going for a diagonal. Yeah, I'm loving your work. And all the way back up. Let's do our side leg work on the other side. My only clue is that my cushion's been left behind on the side that I've just done. So I'm going to make sure my feet go on the side that my cushion was on. Let's allow ourselves to lengthen there. Again, we'll bend in through the knees as we did last time. Good. Let's let the head rest on down. And we're allowing that bottom arm to lengthen. Good. Tummy. Again, tip your top hip slightly forwards. So there's an angle through the pelvis, and that'll allow the top knee to be tipping slightly forwards. That's lovely. Good. Squeezing in through the tummy. Pelvis stays nice and still. We lift the knee. And lower back down. Good. Taking 4 more like that for me. You've got 4. 3. Same side, just switch back over. 2. It's all right, lovely. 1. And then gluing the knees together and allow the foot to lift. We lift and lower and lift and lower. Good. We've got 3 more there. And then we're doing that quirky switch between the two. So we've got the knee lifting up, take a breath, squeeze in and switch knee to knee. And switch toe to toe. And switch, I'm not going to say that bit anymore. I feel like it's a tongue twister. And change. And change. Good, let's take 2 more in both directions. Releasing down, taking hold of that top foot, either give the knee a little hug in to start off with, or grabbing hold of the foot. Foot comes close to the bottom, and we'll stretch the leg away. So yeah, just to talk us through this one again, firstly just check that your shoulder, the top shoulder, is just dropping down and away. I find a lot of tension comes into my neck if I'm not careful on this one. And then with the alignment of the leg, some of us let the knee kind of drop down towards the floor. That won't give you the stretch in exactly the right place. Bring it into line with your hip if you can. Also, some of us find that it comes up towards the sky, and I think that's mainly because you're trying to grab your foot. If you can, once you've got the foot, see if you can lower it into line with the hip. Bringing it back so that there's a long line from knee to hip to shoulders rather than the knee being in front of you. Otherwise, and then we can get a bit more stretch through the front of the hip there. Lovely. Last one. And release. Grab that cushion if you've got it. Oh no, we don't do that yet. We need to do our side leg kicks. So, top leg comes forwards. Bottom leg stretches away. Recovery position. Scooping in through the tummy, stretch the bottom leg away, stretch, 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 and we lift, and we lower, lovely, and we lift, and lower. Good, you've got that connection through the tummy. And then let's pulse it up there. Let's go up and pulse. Pulse. 2, 3, 4, 5, floating all the way down. Lovely. Drawing both the legs away from you, and again, if you know that the bottom leg needs to bend, by all means make that your option. So we're stretching the legs away from us, fully reaching the legs out and away. Take a deep breath and we'll stretch and lengthen away. Take a moment to feel that you're really extending. If I'm not careful, I lift and I scrunch in through my waist. See if you can lengthen and feel that there's length across the bottom of the body as well as the top, or both sides. Nice deep breath. 5 little leg extensions in front of us. So a little sweep forwards and a little sweep back. Good. Sweeping forwards. So you've got 3 more of these, the legs extending away from us. This part is to challenge our balance even further. So we've got the legs lengthened, both legs are lifted, and that's our stamina work. And then as we start to swish the leg out in front of us, it's going to challenge the balance even further. Hold it for me there, 5 with the leg going back behind us. Technique's really important, the leg needs to stretch away. So lengthen away as you move behind you, not just back. More. In, floating the legs down, softening through the knees, and now we really can grab our cushion to take that opening up like a book. So let the head rest down once you're there. Nice deep breath. Now we follow the hand with our gaze. Then as the arm returns. Want to add those little chalk circles in, keeping the fingertips connected to the floor and circling gently around. It might be that you just come up to sort of just before the head, it might be just behind the head, and it might be all the way around, and then we circle the arm back again. Just taking 2 more like that for me, with which I'm choosing to use. Down on our hands, and just as we did before, we'll bring the leg that's on top around and across the knee. And again, if this bottom leg is in the way, kind of thing, we can stretch that leg out in front of us instead. And we're lifting nice and tall. Lengthening nice and tall, draw that leg in towards the chest, so give it a good hug in, lift and gently rotate away from the leg, so you're looking over your shoulder, seeing if that chest can come in even closer towards that bent knee. Good, lovely. Allow the eyes to come back to the front, and we'll allow the legs to go wide. Now, I appreciate that not everybody likes this position, and not everybody's body likes this position, in which case your feet might want to come together and the knees go wide instead. Lifting up really nice and tall, we'll let those shoulders glide down the back, rolling back and down. Let's do that a few more times. More breath, roll those shoulders back and down, and let's just see, as we did with our hamstring stretch just a minute ago, we'll see if we can ease gently forwards. Yeah. If you've got the feet together and the knees wide, you might want to hold on to the ankles or the feet, and that'll give you a nice little stretch. Easing gently forwards. the breath. And again, just curl the head forward, see if you can headbutt the floor. And then take a breath, let the head reach out and away, go for the diagonal, feel as though you're being pulled through the top of your head. Top of your head's pulling you up, 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 up. Gorgeously lengthened, feeling really, really tall. If you need to bend your knees to get the length through your spine, by all means do. If you need the feet to come onto the floor, by all means do. Draw the fingertips in towards one another. Feel that connection in the core. Rib cage gently rotates around. And as we come back to the centre, rotating around to the opposite side. Good. Now in this position, we know that we've got our hands just in front of the breastbone. We know that our chin is lined up with our fingertips. So we know that we're not using our head independently, but it's just floating on top of the torso, which is marvellous. Let's go for what appears to be my favourite arm line of the day. We'll allow the elbows to go nice and wide. Let those shoulders really glide down the back. Rib cage gently rotates around. Breathing in as we come back to the centre. And rotating around to the opposite side. Now, I often find that when we get into this position, then our shoulders start to come up towards our ears. So as you come back to the centre, lift them up and see if you can drop them down a little more. Again on each side. And see if we can drop them down a little more, even feeling that those shoulder blades can glide further apart. Beautiful. Come back into the centre here, guys. We'll release the arms and we'll allow our torso to go towards that right leg. And then we're going to allow the left arm to reach, reach, reach and extend towards that left leg. If you're in your diamond position, that's all good too. See if you can keep the opposite side of your pelvis on the ground and lifting nice and tall. Rotate gently round. And we extend and lengthen. And I always imagine my ballet teacher at this point saying, "No daylight under the buttocks, girls." I accept that I haven't only got girls in the class at the moment, but sorry about that. Let's allow ourselves to jiggle the legs in. Ah, nice. Well done, guys. Let's take our capital C. Gosh, the time's running away with us. Let's take our capital C. So allow ourselves to be near the end of the mat. And you've got length behind you. So wherever you are, just make sure there's space behind you to roll onto. Allowing your feet to be just hip distance apart, lengthen nice and tall, shoulders glide down the back. So with a nice squeeze in the tummy, we'll tip the tailbone under, curving through the lower back. And then we'll breathe in and we'll lengthen up nice and tall. And again, curling into the lower back and lengthening nice and tall. You know that if you don't need to hold on to the legs, just let the arms lengthen out and away. Beautiful, good. I'm seeing people find their challenge place, which is just before that place where the feet lose contact with the floor, so that's excellent. We're going to see if we can really allow that to be a lower back curve, instigating the move. And then allow ourselves to go a little bit further each time. 3 more. Then we're going to roll ourselves to the floor and we're going to continue into a shoulder bridge. Now, if you're feeling really clever, you can keep this curl up in the movement and add the shoulder bridge to the end of it. Some of us don't curl all the way up to sitting, in which case we'll go down to the floor and we'll focus on shoulder bridge. So I think that was our third. So we'll allow this next one to come all the way down to the floor. You'll probably want your feet to come in a little bit closer to your bottom. From there, we'll take a breath, we'll press the lower back into the floor, we'll tip the tailbone up, peel the spine away from the ground. And we'll come up until knees, hips and shoulders are in line with one another. We'll take a breath there. Let's lift the arms towards the sky. or they may want to go all the way over the head. And then we'll float the vertebrae back down one by one. Press the lower back into the floor, and then bring the arms back by your side. You can take a little abdominal curl up. You can curl yourself all the way up to sitting if you want to. And if you don't want to, that's fine. Carry on into the shoulder bridge. And curling all the way back down. Lovely. Feet coming nice and close as we find our shoulder bridge. Pressing the lower back into the floor. And we're working with that smoothness of movement. Looking to find the articulation between each and every vertebrae. Arms lift up towards the sky, or maybe all the way over the head. We'll leave them there as we place those vertebrae back down one by one. Then curling, bringing the arms back by your side. If you want to take an abdominal curl up, do. If you want to allow that abdominal curl up to curl you all the way up to sitting, we can do. Nice deep breath as we curl back and continue into the shoulder bridge. From there, we're coming into our shoulder bridge, and we can allow ourselves to take some little leg lifts. So we can allow the right leg to lift up towards the sky, floating that leg down, changing over to the opposite side. Down, and the arms lift up towards the sky. And all the way over the head, floating gently down through the vertebrae. Curling gently, taking that little abdominal curl up, or curling all the way up to sit. See how you feel. Because I seem to be losing the mat. Now, if you find that as you lift your feet, it gives you cramp in the hamstrings, we'll leave the feet on the floor, and we'll just take two little pushes through the pelvis. So we'll push through the pelvis with a little squeeze in the bottom. So we really get the pelvis to know that we need to connect the bottom when we do those little leg lifts. From there, the arms lift up towards the sky or all the way over the head. And we'll roll back down through the vertebrae. This time, when you bring the arms back by your side, I want you to leave the arms there. Bring the feet in towards one another, and we'll allow the knees to go wide, so we'll make a nice diamond shape with the legs, easing into the inner thigh there, relaxing into the hips. So in this position, you've probably got more of an exaggerated curve in the lower back, and that's fine. We'll come back to our neutral in a second. Breath there. Squeeze in through the core muscles, draw the knees back together. And let's bring those feet just hip distance apart once again. Find that natural curve in the lower back for me there, and allow the arms to lengthen up towards the sky, letting those shoulders glide down the back. We'll allow the arms to gently circle, as if we're drawing little circles on the ceiling. Taking a nice deep breath with that connection through the core. If you feel you want to, one knee lifts to hover above the hip socket. And then if you want to, from there, you can press the lower back into the floor and find that two-legged tundra position. See how that feels for you. Good. If you've got one leg lifted, let's change over to the other leg now. And let's all of us change the direction of the circle. Bring that left knee in, give it a good hug, and allow the right leg to stretch away from you. So lengthening that right leg out and away. And we'll just ease into this stretch. So looking to get a nice sense of release through the lower back, into the hip. Chin in a little more for me. Sometimes we get quite a lot of strain in the back of the neck. Glide that right leg in, give it a good hug. And we'll allow the left leg to release away from us. Allowing the back of the neck to be really nice and long. Both those knees in towards us, give them both a good hug. Little rock from side to side, as if you're just massaging your back into the floor. The legs into the centre, we'll peel the head up towards the knees and we'll rock gently forwards and back, building the momentum forwards and back, and then maybe we'll ping ourselves up to sitting. But if you're thinking, no, that's not a very good idea, Emma, come onto one side and bring yourself up to sit in a way that suits you better. Lovely. Once we're there, we'll allow ourselves to come around to a crouch position and we'll tuck the toes under. Enjoy a little forwards and back action with the feet, so we'll just rock gently forwards and back, seeing if we can get that nice range of movement through the feet. And then we will bring ourselves up to standing. So take your time to come up to a standing position in a way that works for you. I'm going to roll up through the spine, so I'll press the heels into the ground, let the head be nice and heavy. And then we're rolling gently up through the vertebrae. Head comes on top last thing of all. And then we're lifting the shoulders, we're rolling the shoulders gently back and down, letting the tailbone descend down, finding that softness in the knees. And once again, just find a sense of length. So you feel as though the head's floating up towards the space above you, shoulders are melting down into the ground. Feet are settled nicely down with an energy in the arches of the feet. Take a deep breath for me, reaching really tall. Breathing out and let it all go. Give it a good shake out. Well done. Give yourselves a round of applause, guys. Well done.